Haps. Here we have some special breaking news live coverage with Lucas Mulliken at the Arizona State Capitol. There is a MAGA Trump supporter rally happening now. Lucas, thanks for joining us. What's it been like there on the ground today?
Thanks. Hey, Peter. So this is the second week of the Stop the Count vote here in Arizona, led by a couple different organizations that are really just interested in having a secure audit here in Arizona. And this is week, honestly, it's been bigger than last. There's probably several hundred people, several thousand unique ones throughout the day. But right now there's speakers talking and just basically introducing congressmen, nonprofit leaders, Latinos for Trump and Chinese for Trump organization leaders, just really looking at some of the issues here in Arizona, and a lot of them are really upset about the direction of just the vote, and they really don't feel it's fair. A lot of them literally say, they didn't see Biden rallies, they didn't see massive amounts of support for him, so they're just not.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you'd raise those flags and take off those hats.
You broke up just a little bit there, but I heard what you said. It seems like there's a large number of protesters there. By your estimates, how many folks are on the ground at this rally right now?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Probably about 400, I would say.
Obviously, I'm not seeing a lot of math. So clearly, there's a reason why there weren't as many rallies. The Biden campaign shied away from that in favor of social distancing, whereas the Trump campaign did not so much. So have folks, considered that? Are they taking any measures for social distancing or, precautions in the crowd there today?
I mean, it's pretty evident as far as you can see that that's not the major concern. I mean, I've been coming to these events for the past 2 weeks or so, and a lot of them are just not thinking that coronavirus is a major issue. A lot of them see it as a more of an economic struggle and, a de-sovereignization of their communities. And even here today, we're seeing folks that are speaking out against Doug Ducey and thinking that he's going to impose another lockdown and how that's going to impact their lives and their businesses. People here are not happy about the direction of, some of those liberties be taken away.
Wow, that's fascinating. So I'm seeing lots of Trump flags, lots of American flags there, lots of MAGA hats. In your conversations with people, what's their feelings about these election results? Are they, accepting them as valid? What are their chief complaints here?
Like we've talked about before, there's a lot of distrust in the actual system. People state by state are seeing some of the issues, and it's not really making the mainstream media. A lot of them are finding alternative news sources to really bring about awareness to these things. Even today, they're having discussions. I'm speaking with folks that have said that they're hearing news that irregular ballot voting machines were installed and paid for by the Clinton Foundation. These are concerns that people are hearing, on their social media and on news outlets and things. So they're coming out here because they're even more emboldened and upset by, the direction of, how these elections have gone.
Right. Wow. And for folks just joining us in the comments here, would love to address your questions to Lucas here on the ground in Arizona, in Phoenix, currently at the Make America Great Again rally there with Trump supporters. Hi, Lucia. Thanks for joining us and tuning in there. Any other comments or questions, feel free to, whether you're watching here on the HAPS app or on external platforms, ask away. We're happy to address any questions, etc. Don't be a stranger. So, Lucas, back to what's on the ground there in front of you. In your conversations with protesters there, what are the next steps that they are demanding? What are their key, asks or key points that they have in mind in terms of action?
I guess the main thing that people here are wanting is a clear and transparent audit of the election process. A lot of people want hand recounts. a lot of people are only really interested in, not having ballot machines or having voting machines take these ballots. So it's just basically people want not just recounts here in Arizona, but across the entire country.
Right. So they want recounts across the entire states there. Interesting. Yeah, Lucia says there's no one wearing a single mask that she can see. That seems to be the case that from what I can tell in my observations here. Lucas, how are you staying safe out there? When you're reporting on these massive rallies and protests, how do you put your health and safety first?
Oh man, lots of fresh fruit and taking supplements and just, washing my hands. But whether it be the Black Lives Matter protests I was covering across the country earlier this year, or just coming out to these rallies, it's just important for me not to come into physical contact with people. Try not to high five or exchange items, and stay masked up. It's just some of the bare minimum things we can do. But it's important because we're seeing the spikes in, I believe, all 49 states except for Vermont right now in COVID cases, and it's just really important for people to, continue to be safe. It's going to be a long winter. I'm sure on Haps we've been covering some of the lockdowns that have gone in place this past couple of days in New York and other states. So it's really important for people to be mindful. And, here in Arizona, that just doesn't necessarily feel like that's the vibe.
Right. Well, I'm hearing some chanting going on there. You've mentioned that in the state of Arizona, Governor Doug Ducey is considering implementing more lockdown policies soon. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that came actually from his offices. I'm sure that's always being a good consideration, but right now that's just kind of what's been one of the concerns here.
Mm-hmm. Right. Wow. So it looks like there's hundreds of people there. Who have been some of the speakers at this event so far today?
Yeah, we've had a variety of people. Some congressmen. We've had some people that have been involved in lawsuits against the Clintons. We've had retired sheriffs, and just like different groups of Latinos for Trump, and certain organizations here in Arizona that really pioneered the vote for Donald Trump.
Right. Wow. It looks like there's some Second Amendment activists there from the flags I'm seeing. Don't tread on me. Interesting. Let's see. We're getting a comment. Too funny in a pathetic way from Joe Tweet. Yeah, I think there's a lot of Americans out there who are in disbelief that folks are congregating in large groups at all, much less to convene and protest against an election whose results are all but final. Of course, there's a lot of another comment coming in. Time to end protesting. Enough is enough already. Yeah. So are folks feeling like this election is not over yet, and that we could, still see Trump have a path to 4 more years? Has been chanted.
It's not worth sacrificing your.
It's just, by being here over the past, over a week and a half, it's clear that is the vibe, and people here are very, concerned about this being a fraudulent election. A lot of people, just by the signs of not having large rallies and by not being out in the streets and things like that, they don't think it was really possible for, this large win.
Right. A comment coming in again from Cattle VR 77. COVID will never end with this BS. What are the rates of COVID there in Arizona relative to the rest of the country? Obviously, seeing tremendous spikes everywhere. I would assume it's a similar situation there on the ground.
Yeah, we're definitely seeing, monitoring some of the local transparency reports that local police departments put out and things. It's very clear that the rates are going up, beds are dropping, and deaths are going up here, and even Arizona in the past week. So this is a major concern for people here, and it's really hard to address this when so many other elements of the politics are being caught up in the midterm. If you think back to election night 2016, Hillary Clinton conceded, and the next day the transition team was starting. We're not seeing that now. Trump is holding on, and all these people that we're looking at here are very adamantly holding on. And what that means is that, Biden can't start the crucial work that he needs to get involved in for transitional authorities, for everything from the new COVID task force. And this really puts America's health and American interests at risk. So I'm really hoping that, with these marches, don't just embolden the president, all the way until January. I hope we're actually able to find some sort of common ground and move forward.
Right. No, certainly. We have with us, joining in just a moment here, Eric Rosenwald in Tucson. So another half journalist with some expertise in Arizona. Eric, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Oh, great. We can get a visual on the screen now, too. Excellent. So thanks for hopping on and joining us today, Eric. What's the situation like in Tucson now?
Right now in Tucson, there are a few disorganized parades, or some people call them Trump trains, driving around the city. There's nothing really organized going on beyond that. It looks like in Arizona, it's really just up there at the Capitol. That's the real focal point. Last Sunday, there was a Biden a celebration for the victory. There was a celebration in a parking lot at a mall, and some Trump supporters in the Trump train type deal came up on the protesters and followed some of them home. So other than that, there hasn't been much here right now. But it's great to see what Lucas is covering there at the Capitol. I was up there last Friday and Saturday with Lucas, and from what I understand, it's definitely bigger, right?
Yeah, hey Eric. So we were here last week, and I've been out here for the past couple. Oh my gosh, too far. I haven't even been able to remember how many days I've been here. But it is growing, and it's really kind of a thing that worries me. Back to what I just said. Is the direction of this going to hinder America's response on so many issues, because we're more and more divided even after the election, and that's something that I didn't necessarily expect we'd be dealing with. And honestly, like we said earlier, there's just a lot of Second Amendment folks out here. The Proud Boys were here and took the stage earlier and talked about their involvement here in Arizona. So when you really think about the large scale of folks coming together for this, it really brings conservatives together with maybe some of these far right-wing groups that they might not have normally come into contact with, except for maybe the internet. So really, it's putting a lot of pressure on officials here in Arizona. Folks are starting to do a recall. Doug Ducey, he's the governor here of Arizona and Republican, but they're just not happy with the direction of his work and what's been going on. With everything from COVID to they think his modest support of President Trump.
Wow. Lucas, I recognize some of the familiar faces actually from coverage that both you and Eric have done over the last week or so. It looks like these people are not ready to throw the towel in, so to speak, put the white flag up anytime soon. Do you expect these to continue until transition of power happens?
Yeah, honestly, I'm worried about it going on even longer than that. So that's a major concern. Is just like where the direction this is going, whether it has a concrete form, and what's gonna happen.
I am you, you are me.
Right. Your audio is breaking up. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. What have you talked to people about what the end game is? I remember when I was talking to people, I said, what is the criteria for you to accept that Biden has won? And most of the time, I heard a very vague answer, something along the lines of, well, when we know it's not a corrupt election, when we know it's a legitimate election. I said, well, what specifically, how would you determine that? And they never really had a clear answer on that. Have you heard anything about that? What their end game is?
Yeah, after being out here for a while and speaking to a bunch of different people, I'm really starting to see that, as much as people want a free and fair election, they don't think that Donald Trump could have lost this election, especially here in Arizona. So that's a major concern. And when they talk about the actual person who won the election, they're never really referring to which direction the votes are going. It's more just about what they might see as the political environment in Arizona, and that's what we kind of know is just from seeing a shift, not just in certain communities that are voting. There's a massive flux towards the Democratic Party and on the Navajo Nation and other tribal lands here in Arizona, and I think that's kind of shifting the paradigm of how people are viewed in the context.
And still fighting for what I believe in. This is my son right here. This is my son. I want you guys to know something. That we need to have a leader that is a servant leader. We don't need a leader that's a reward leader. And I was listening to the sermons at my church, and I was like, wow, we just got through a really good series about what leadership looks like. And as a leader, you are an influencer. Every single one of you who got your lives out, every single one of you standing here are an influencer. We are influencing people to do things in a positive, constructive manner. Going forward, for our president, though, we need somebody who's going to continue to fight and serve the people. People that continue to be a servant leader, doing something that's not for him. He couldn't be bought. He was already a billionaire. He already had everything he could have ever wanted. But he saw the corruption. He saw what was going on, and he took a stand for you and for me. I look at my child now, and I realize the country that I leave to my son right now is not sitting where I want it to be. The perversions that seeped into the seams, that have dripped in there, milked it in, slowly but surely, little by little, they have gotten people used to the corruption. And they didn't do it all at once. That's why the silent majority...
Hey, Lucas, do you recognize that speaker? Do you know who she is? Did she identify herself?
Yeah, I've spoke with her. Originally met her last week, and I've been talking to her and seeing her for a while here.
Great. Oh, Drew Shepard from Los Angeles. Welcome. Great to see you. Stacy Champion says influencing hate. So some interesting comments there coming in. Tell us what your thoughts and reactions are to this MAGA rally at the Arizona Capitol here. Erica, how has this differed from the scenes that you saw last week or last weekend even when you were out doing that marathon coverage here on HAPS?
Yeah, I mean, like I said earlier, it's really just a transition. It's a lot more organized. I felt last week was very ad hoc. People showing up over Instagram posts and things, and this week it's there's been speakers here for the past going on 3 hours, folks coming out and supporting. We have groups like the Proud Boys here coming up armed, providing security, and very buddied with the local police force. So it kind of makes things like a really peaceful environment where everyone's kind of on the same team in that sense. But even yesterday, last night at some of the sign waving events I saw, they were seeing support and seeing police cruisers drive by and beeping in support of their Trump sign waving. So it's really interesting. But this is towards the end of the day, around noon. It was very heated here, very lots going on, lots of energy, people arriving, and just excited to be here. Now it's tapered down to probably around 250 people total. But yeah, that's kind of where we're at with things here.
So who exactly is organizing this? Is it just the same people who brought the PA sound system from last week? Do you know if this is the same, or is it an organization or just a couple of people taking upon themselves to do this?
I'm not exactly sure. I know last week there was a whole different structure to it, and even if we go over here and check out over towards the Capitol itself, there's local fire trucks that have been converted to Trump fire trucks, and there's a Trump campaign bus here as well. So it's definitely very orchestrated. I've been seeing some articles recently just talking about some of the different groups that are involved in this nationwide push, and as much as people are thinking that it is very ad hoc and just kind of spawning out of nowhere, there's lots of groups that are being involved in organizing this. And I even heard that Roger Stone was working on, bringing out support here in these places and things like that. So.
Wow. Greetings to Cameron, another broadcaster here on HAPS. Thank you for tuning in here. Getting a lot of comments in saying these seem to be largely uneducated people. Another comment saying, are there any sensible men there? Trump campaign bus is broken down. He spent all the money on orange face makeup. So anyway, lots of reactions here in the comments. What are you thinking when you're seeing this scene unfold here? Thanks to Lucas Mulliken's breaking coverage of this protest.
Yeah, I think honestly, coming out here multiple days in a row, this is just kind of turning into a very orchestrated political, movement to get folks out and to get them organized. And as we see over here, there's just tons of people that show up to sell flags and hats, and you'd be shocked at how quickly, new styles of hats and all this stuff comes out. As far as like Stop the Steal, I think we have some buy one get one free merchandise here on this here truck. And
Wow.
when you're out here, you just see constant folks getting new hats and memorabilia and things like that.
Wow,
Like I just
this
saw
is
someone.
quite, yeah, this is quite the scene here. I'm seeing lots of flags and visuals, and yeah, did not take long at all, did it, for the merchandise to start rolling out. I don't see any counter protesters here. I mean, have you seen any at all today, Lucas, when you're there?
I mean, honestly, I haven't really seen anyone get out of their car. I've seen folks drive by and have really made a point to express, maybe some profanity or express some distaste for these folks out here. But that's about it. No one's really pulling over and getting out. I did see earlier that there was a small group of folks. I'm not sure if they were Teamsters or what type of organization they were, but they all had very similar, high-end polos on, and we're here, expressing that Donald Trump had lost, and we're also hanging out and kind of being very, strong and strong-armed, and just not letting people talk to them or bother them. So
Wow, we see some people dancing with Trump flags here.
people love YMCA.
Yeah.
Is it kind of a festive environment like it was at times last weekend? I mean, I was surprised how much dancing and excitement I saw.
I think you just got to keep it, keep it active, keep it dynamic. If people get bored, then they're not gonna keep it up.
Quite a scene. Chris Cutter on HAPS here. I'd like to hear more from the protesters. Ask the guy on the ground to speak to some of them.
Yeah, let me see if I can find anybody to talk with.
Sure, yeah. If it's safe, we don't want to pressure you, but it would be interesting to hear from someone before we sign off today and get a perspective from the ground. What are people thinking?
Yeah, let me see if I can find somebody really quick that looks like they might be interested in speaking with us. Usually folks scurry away when they see someone talking on their phone to themselves. They're just like, I don't want to be involved in that. There's also people taking pictures in front of the Trump bus.
Oh yeah, check that out. Wow. So clearly someone's organizing this week. It's totally different here. We got the buses out. Wow. Is that a Trump fire truck? What is going on?
It's Fired Up Freedom.
Wow. Amazing. I wonder who is sponsoring this event.
The guy who runs this actually sells Trump merchandise at pretty much every event. So maybe if I could find him, he might be able to talk to us. Let me see. Don't know where he is right now.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting to hear from people making money off of this, really.
This is my favorite part of this entire fire truck is the built-in grills.
Wow.
So you can really barbecue. In case anyone's trying to rent this, I'm pretty sure that's the website here in Phoenix, Arizona.
Huh?
Fire Up Freedom. I'm not sure where he is right now.
No worries. Lucas, we really appreciate your time and reporting from the ground there. Stay safe. I know that you have to sign off shortly. You're there with some more coverage today on the ground in Arizona Capital from Phoenix at the MAGA rally. Really appreciate your time. Would love to see some more continued collaborations between Lucas and Eric here on HAPS. Thanks for everyone who's tuned in today. Really exciting to hear from you guys and get this insider perspective. This is not being covered anywhere else, to my knowledge. So exclusive here on HAPS on the ground. Fantastic reporting, Lucas.
Yeah, thanks. And I know Eric and I are going to be going down to southern Arizona soon because even though there major parts of the United States are moving forward with Trump and being out of office here in January, the wall is still being built. They're still blasting into sacred mountains and really just damaging a lot of the local environments there. So we're going to go continue. I've been doing a lot of work with folks from the Center for Biological Diversity and similar, just to bring awareness to this. So, yeah.
Excellent. Looking forward to that coverage. Again, you can join HAPS and be able to sponsor and support monetarily Lucas's reporting on the ground here, Eric's reporting on the ground here. Please jump onto HAPS and check out what it's all about. There are free reporting tools here for anyone interested in broadcasting. But that does it for today's broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone who tuned in. And most importantly, thank you, Lucas and Eric, for your input and analysis and breaking coverage of this continuing counter-protest.
Yeah, thanks so much, Peter. And definitely give us a subscribe and a follow. And we'll continue to report from the Capitol here in Arizona as the election debate continues.
Fantastic. Have a great day. Stay safe out there, Lucas.
Will do.